All right, all right, all right. Make sure this thing's still recording. I'm back. Uh, Guys, this Florida weather is killing me. It's either humid and I take Broncaid, or a massive sinus headache because it's like the barometric pressure. Something I'm not used to being from the Midwest. The air is so much thinner up there, but it also snows. I'm not down with that. Enough. I lived through the blizzard of '78. I'm not interested, but. So again, I don't go around telling people who I used to be. I tell you who I am. It has come up and has been discovered many times, the rank and where I was, but generally not by me. And again, you know what? Even though there were times that that we didn't necessarily get along or see eye to eye, the respect was there, and I re-earned the respect of the members that didn't know me, and in some of these nations, and then a lot more other nations. I had no idea when I moved to where I did that it was a melting pot of some of the biggest clubs and longest and hardest hitting clubs in the world, and we were an isolated crew. It had been here almost 20 some years, but they really hadn't kept up in the relationships. And so as I climbed in rank on that club, this is a pretty good sized club, Midwest, Michigan to Florida. I just went and created relationships because it gets awful boring, and then I also doubled the size of the clubs or the chapters in Florida because it gets real boring hanging out in your own clubhouse and seeing the same ugly faces, and nobody comes. You have parties, which suck anyway. I hate hosting parties. I'd rather go to a party than host one, but nobody comes to yours. And I mean, if you're about it, you want to build it. Now, the club that I left in the end and hung my patch up, was, look, I would love to say I hung around and just get my retirement so I could sit around and be with them old guys and tell people what to do. But it was some pretty intense shit. And it just had gone south ever actually since Mr. Black passed. And it got to the point where it was deadly. And not by my resolve or even the states that I ran, by people that were armchair quarterbacking with no skin in the game. And then not only that, we're working against us, our own crew. And that's what I tell people, man. I didn't quit the life quit me. When I have to worry more about the guy standing beside me wearing my patch than I do the guy we're opposing, then it doesn't exist anymore, because that is not how I was raised. That's not how I came up. But I saw it from the very beginning. I saw it probably the first year in of, again, almost 20 years. I started seeing the chinks in what I thought was I found home. This is it. This is brotherhood, man. This is it. I mean, they got my back 100%, and they're never going to forsake me because of my brother. Talk about naive. But you know what? I think I was hungry for that. I didn't have that growing up, and a lot of us didn't during the life. That's what I was after, man. But unfortunately, it doesn't exist. I mean, you make it for yourself. But I've been proven twice that you mean a lot less to people that mean everything to you, and that sucks. I mean, it does. It really, it'll mess with you when people choose a lie, and not even that they would believe lies or they would. It's just easier to cow down, and you mean less. Every moment in time with you on this planet, if you're righteous, is an honor. But yet you have people who are too stupid or self-centered or, that would rather be a follower or a yes man than they would stand up for themselves. I don't even think they have the balls. They were never taught to. But yet when a group that stands up to something that's completely wrong and dangerous, and to the point where people died, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I said that when we pulled the plug, when we made the transition and hung our patch, which in my opinion we retired, because 80% of that nation has left since then, and we were just the first ones. But we stood up and said, this is not right. This is not what it's about. This is about ego, narcissism. And it got stupid dangerous. I mean, I spent the last, I think, 2-3 years of my time with them with a bounty on me, over shit I had nothing to do with. I had no control over. Some of it I did. I think it's just a generalization. I'm just here to push buttons and motivate people. It works out sometimes it don't. But I can tell you that the final three, that's the third time in 20 years that I don't know why I'm such a nice guy. I don't know why people want to do me harm. But when we shut the door on it and said, you know what, I'm not down with this. This is just getting stupid. This ain't even about pride or duty. This is about egos, and somebody's going to get killed. And I was right. 2 righteous brothers got killed. I'm talking within 90 days of when we pulled the plug, and it would have been us. I could see it coming from a mile away. Most my guys can't, because they haven't had at that point, 40 years really experience plus, in the life. So, but they wouldn't listen to me either. A lot of people ask me for opinions or thoughts. I have counseled with people from other clubs, not in detail because you don't share your club business, but I mean enough that I know that they know that you know what I mean. But when I've not been wrong, it's not because I'm smart. I did get a high school diploma. I'm pretty sure they gave it to me because I threatened to sue them if they didn't, because they didn't tell me about the whole credit thing. Never mind. We'll talk about that someday. But yeah. So and when it happened that we had left, I said, even though we did everything 1,000%, to the letter, right? I am the top leading position. I'm filling the top leading position, not just in the state where I was, but also as a board member of the nation. And I had many conversations with other clubs, working stuff out at their top level of their nations, and big ones that you would know, and meetings with them. It's just because it was what it was. Again, it's about your contribution. I tell people, if you're going to be in a club, take from it everything you need, but you give back twice as much. And that may sound cliche. Most of them don't. There's a bunch of cock-ass bullies in this club that think they're somebody. And you know what? It ain't hard to prove that they ain't. But when people are either too afraid or not willing to stand up to them, or they value, they're afraid of change. I don't know what their phobias are, man. All I know is that that ain't how clubs used to run. I didn't quit the life quit me. I will never quit the life. I was offered positions of value to absolutely some of the number one biggest and top nations after I left. Ones that don't even get along with each other, because I had earned their respect. And that's rare. I would never expect a club, and we couldn't at times. I can't pick you over my club's relationship with another club, even if you were done wrong. I personally can back you, empathize with you, sympathize with you, but I can't sacrifice a relationship that's bigger than us, right? And with other big nations, because not in the best interest of my nation. And that's just the way it is. Anyone, again, who's in the club life, who's been in leadership, and guys I've personally know and talked to, and some are part of this whole deal, this whole brand, they know they know what I'm talking about. And people that are still in big clubs knew what I was talking about. And that's why I didn't go to another club. I said, first of all, I have to be in love with you before I marry you. And I'm not in love with anybody right now. And I haven't been. And it's not the people. It has nothing to do with them or their club, or even them individually. It has everything to do with, as a whole, it doesn't exist anymore, not like it did. So those are my credentials. 20 years, actually 55 years in the life. 3 club. One was a transitional club that was really made up of the members of that first organization. I won't go into detail. There was a reason we were there, and it was swiftly found out, and it didn't surprise a lot of people because of their actions prior, that we weren't there to mess around. And we earned the level of admiration, fear, or respect, whatever you call it. With that. But what I did from there was, a lot of times you'll have smaller clubs will transition over, they'll roll over into a bigger club. It happens a lot. It's happened in the club I left, many times. That's in fact over 50 plus years. That's how that club has ever grown the most, is they absorb other good-sized clubs that are hard-hitting and serious people. And I'm telling you, the club that I left is not the biggest club, never has been even close to the biggest numbers in the club, but they were absolutely one of the unequivocally hardest hitting clubs there has been. And albeit some members that were leadership of other big organizations not in our territory had heard of them. They had never met them. And for a time, at least, when I came over, it was right. Everything was right. And we maintained that respect. Now they have none. They literally have none. They have barely any members. And there is not I don't know the 1% Club and mostly otherwise, and at least in this state, but I know in the nation there are several of the big ones. They won't talk to them. They've basically blackballed them for their actions, and that's on them. It ain't on me. That was after I had left, and they chose in some cases to rally to my aid without me asking. And I would never have wanted or expected that, but it certainly was appreciated, and they knew who they are. But so there you go. There's my resume. You won't hear me talk about clubs. I'm getting ready to do another piece about that, so I'll post that in another blog or vlog or whatever the hell it's called. I will get back to lives. We will get back to studio stuff. I just need a minute. I have a tremendous amount of transition going on that I did not expect. When Mrs. Tabasco, again, the lady's called in sick twice, I think, in like 18 years. So I didn't expect this, and I hope there's a better than not chance that she'll be good. It's not our first. There was a major illness when we were engaged. Got past that, but hey, look, I've been a lot more of a handful than she has. I promise you, over the 18 years, because I ran hard. I have no problem talking myself out doing stuff now all the time. It's kind of weird. I mean, when you go from where you were and you're surrounded by just hundreds of people, and then you're tight knit crews and you're running the gun hard, and then you cut that off. I knew it would be a tremendous oddity after, again, almost 20 years, because what I do with that void, because I was 7 days a week on that. I worked, 7 days a week though. I'm available, traveled, I mean, damn near every weekend at least, or was at our clubhouse from Friday night to Monday morning often. So feeling that, I thought it was work, trying to create a brand that would allow me to at least earn a living and be around what I love, and it's motorcycles, and it's the life. It's most clubs. I mean, I don't say a lot. I don't hand my card out for my history, but it's often found out and they figure it out. But I don't try to be nobody. I didn't want to be famous, more like notorious or infamous. But I have tremendous amount of experiences and experience that just comes with being there and you can't get it in many cases any other way. Take it for what it's worth, man. Agree or don't agree. I don't really give a shit. You have to like your own life. But if I can keep the life somewhat alive, even though I know it doesn't exist as a whole anymore, people are turning around clubs and leaving. I mean, it's like a revolving door. They're snitching on each other. They're, backstabbing each other to get positions, narking on each other so they can go to jail, so they can get their position. I mean, it's like the worst of the worst. And I tell people often, look, man, we've never claimed to be geniuses. There's a lot of people in a club. It's even one flag that you fly. And I said, and you are only as smart as the dumbest member you have, and there ain't no IQ test to get in. So keep it real.